Hi, welcome to the homework for the Stephen Sondheim class on Little Night Music. My name is David Benkof,
I'm Peter Filichia.
and we will be the instructors for the class. And we have some questions for you about A Little Night Music, particularly about the last song in this show. Peter, tell everybody about the Miller song.
Well, it's sung by a minor character, a woman named Petra, who is a maid. And she is the maid to Anne, who is married to Frederick Edelman, who's substantially older than Anne. And that's caused a problem because Anne's still a virgin. She doesn't feel compelled to give it up, even though they've been married quite some time now, more than a year. And so the maid, every now and then, has a very nice relationship with Anne. It's almost like they're girlfriends. But whenever Petra, as the name of the maid is, goes a little too far, it isn't long before Anne makes it very clear that she's the boss and Petra's the maid. So the only time we ever see Petra is in somebody else's company until the very end of the show. Almost the very end of the show. There will be a scene afterwards that's very important, but there she is all alone singing to us her plans. And her plans are to marry the miller's son, or maybe the Prince of Wales, or maybe somebody else who's far above her alleged
Businessman,
station, a
a
businessman,
businessman, yeah.
right? So above her station. And a lot of people have said, wow, she seems awfully smart for the girl that we've been seeing all along, who's been submissive and, wants her paycheck and therefore isn't going to anger her boss. But this really ties into what Moliere used to do in his plays, where the servants were much smarter than the people they were serving. So we get to see a great deal of her wit and wisdom here, because a girl that age usually doesn't think in terms of even marrying anybody close to the Prince of Wales, let alone a businessman. These marriages usually meant that they would marry the butler who worked with them or worked in the neighboring house or something like that. But she's very, very sharp, and it's the first time we get the chance to see it. And considering the fact that we've not that much earlier, the song that comes before it is Send in the Clowns. And the point is that Desiree, the actress who has been in love with Frederick Edelman, who loves her back but wound up marrying this young girl to his consternation, she's talking about that we're all clowns, we're all silly, look how foolishly we act. And that is followed by somebody who we don't imagine to have that much brain power or wisdom or worldly knowledge, but she does have street smarts, of course, and that's the wonderful advantage that people in the station have. Because they have to lead a hard scrabble life, they eventually do pick up street smarts that the high and mighty do not pick up. So it's a very interesting song from that vantage point. There are also a lot of rhymes in it, and the thing is, Sondheim has always said the smartest people rhyme the best. That was a policy of his. And so you can tell that he really respected Petra. And after spending all this time with these other people who certainly have shown themselves to be damn fools in one way or another, it's something to really see somebody who's really got her feet on the ground and her head in the right place.
Now,
Interestingly enough, in the original movie, Smiles of a Summer Night, there is no such scene. The musical A Little Night Music follows Smiles of a Summer Night very, very carefully, amazingly carefully. It's certainly worth watching, but there is no scene analogous to The Miller's Son. This was entirely Sondheim's invention, that he
but Petra is
wanted
in
to give
the
some time.
is Petra in the original source material?
Yes,
Right.
indeed. Yes,
Because it's
indeed.
interesting. I think one of the ways we know that she's the most solid character in the show is that her name means rock.
Right. Indeed. And I certainly know that from my own life too.
So
Because
for
Peter, of
those of
course,
you who are not so familiar with the structure of a Broadway show, The Miller's Son shows up in a place called the 11 o'clock number spot. And an 11 o'clock number is usually a big song or significant song where a character learns something about themselves or expresses something about themselves, or at least it's just a number that people go home thinking about. It's a major production. Go ahead.
that's what they really wanted with 11 o'clock numbers. By the way, the term is really outdated because, of course, shows used to start at 8:30 and they used to end at 11. So as a result, that's why they called them the 11 o'clock number. It means the final number of a show. Now it's really the 10:30 number, or even the 9:30 number, or even the 8:30 number, depending on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they now start at 7 o'clock. And some shows are 90 minutes and you're back out in the night air. So what we have here is an antiquated expression, but I don't think it'll ever go away. So no more than 20th Century Fox calls herself 21st Century Fox now, is still 20th Century Fox. So yes, usually the 11 o'clock number was really meant to have people go out on a real high. And that's why you have Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat, which is also sung by a minor character, Nicely Johnson in Guys and Dolls. And to me, the best one of that's in second place of the best 11 o'clock number ever. In first place is Brotherhood of Man, sung in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying by Finch, the leading character, who really is trying to ameliorate the situation while really getting himself ahead. Interestingly enough, both of those songs were written by Frank Lesser, who didn't write all that many Broadway musicals, but certainly he made those count. And that's the expression 11 o'clock number. But traditionally, even though, as I say, nicely has it in Guys and Dolls, traditionally it is given to a major character. So it was very surprising. I was at the very first performance of A Little Night Music on January 20th, 1973 at the Colonial Theater in Boston. It was really such a surprise to see this minor character get this song. And frankly, the actress who was playing it didn't seem convinced that she should have it, because she gave a very lackluster rendition, and she was eventually fired and someone else was brought in. And the version we know from the original cast album really packs a wallop because she does it really well. Don't look for it in the movie. Not
So
there.
here's the homework. Here's the homework. What I want you to do is ask yourself, what do you think of the Miller's song? And is it important enough to be placed in the spot that it is? And why is it so important? Tell us a little bit about your feelings about that song, and put your answers in the comments, and we'll be talking about it in the class. So that is your homework for A Little Night Music. The August 15th A Little Night Music class is part of a Sondheim Online Master Seminar, Tuesdays from noon to 1:15 p.m. in August. Sign up at thebroadwaymaven.com. And here's a Stephen Sondheim playlist.